Hey, this is Sean Tyas, and I am here with the Freqport FT1, otherwise known as the FreakTube, and it is actually 4 tubes that are in a box and no analog I/O. You don't have to connect anything but a USB cable to this from your computer, and you then have the ability to run channels, buses, and your master through analog tubes within your DAW absolutely seamlessly. And of course, I wanted to give this thing a bit of a road test, so I'm kind of more the less subtle person, so we're going to try it on a bunch of things that I would be using it on more or less a daily basis.
Okay, so let's jump into our first example. We have a kind of interesting little riff slash pseudo acid line, not necessarily a full-on acid, but definitely serving that purpose from a classic tech trance track. You may know it as the Taub acid. So sounding naked, undistorted, as you can see from the silence that's generating it. There is no processing, no effect, none of the effects section implemented here. Just a nice, good old-fashioned filtering, which sounds like this. Who's going to put that in a track? So now we got to give it a little bit more character. So let's just turn this on. Let's zero out the FreakTube. I'm in digital mode right now, so this means this is just the plugin that you are about to hear. So we're actually using it as distortion. So you might say, okay, yeah, so what? That's nowhere near what I'm able to get with my distortion plugins. Well, here we go. We have to put it into plus 18 dB mode. This effectively is turning into a real distortion box. And then we shoot over to the wet filter. Now this is where you're going to give all the character and shape your distortion. So if I don't do any shaping, let's just zero this out. Let's just turn it off outright so you believe me. Now that's not bad in its own right, but now we're going to shape it much more. So let's... And that's still just the plugin. Now switch over to the physical tubes right now. And then all you got to do is click analog, same plugin. And here we go. I've already mapped a couple of controls to the unit. You can't really see it from where you are, but the 2 of the tubes already lit up, and they're actually quite hot. So I wouldn't, that's why there's a grating over them so you don't burn your fingers off. And let's load it again. And you'll immediately notice that the real tubes have a bit more bite. So yeah, you kind of switch into it when you need it, and then you switch back out to the plugin when you need to do your editing. It's much faster. All depends on what you want to do though. Then I'll switch it back to digital so we can go on to the next example and we can free up those tubes for the next one. So over to this one, you may have heard this actual acid line before. Most likely you have. Here we go with that. Familiar, but not quite there, right? Yeah, just because you've never heard it with no distortion on. Now, of course, the 303 has a very long-standing relationship with lots of different distortion boxes, so if you don't use the right one, you're not really going to get the right sound. However, this is doing a great job when I really got a chance to push it. So let's just zero this one out, start with digital, and here we go. And of course, just like the last one, we're going to hit that plus 18 dB mode. And you could hear that kind of texture wanting to come through. This is where the wet filter comes in. You implement that. Let's turn this down and hear how it sounds as we start to go in there and shape it more. Screw it. Let's just switch over to analog mode while we're doing this. So now we are moving over from software to the physical tubes right now. Yeah. Widen that. Sexy. All right, on to the next one. Let's free up our analog tubes again, and we're going to switch over back to the digital mode, and now on to another very, very famous acid, I would venture to say. So it sounds a little something like this. Let's turn off the delay. It's a similar sound in the first place, but this one has a filter sweep that runs all the way up it. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of let the FreakTube be the distortion and let it be static as it runs up. So you'll see how it kind of goes through these different kind of sweet spots. Let's turn this off and let's switch right to analog, might as well. We're in the T7 mode. I'm going to switch to the distortion mode real quick. So this effectively just switched it over to the other tubes. Of course, what are we going to do next? Plus 18. You see how important it is to hit that sweet spot with the filter, so you're really, really driving into the right. As you can see, there's no distortion or nothing else happening on the Phocion that's going to be supplementing this. As you can tell, I'm not really into using saturation so much in subtle ways. I like to use it as distortion. And this was new to me because I never really had much experience with tube hardware. So this was all kind of new and exciting. I had tube software emulations, but I mean, who's to say if that's right or not? You know, I had no experience saying one way or the other. So moving on down, this is now the usual suspects have an amazing new emulation of the JP8000. It's called the JE8086, and this is doing a little bit of an acid line. So let's get this set up here, and not really an acid line, but more of a mid-bass, highly resonant, very, very Gurriela throwback. Now, okay, so I thought this would be an interesting one because, number one, they have not released their update that will implement the JP8080 features, which includes a distortion. So the JP8000 is, you know, a little bit less equipped in terms of not having a distortion. So I thought, okay, what better time than to bust that out now, and we go run a FreakTube on it, and let's run a resonant sound through it and see how this goes. So here we go, and let's implement the FreakTube and even just go straight into analog right off the bat. We have to wait a second for it to be ready. Now we're going to use the T7 just because we haven't used them yet and see how much different it is. It's keep in mind, when we're in plus 18 dB mode, we are going to be aggressive regardless. But we don't really want to put delay before, and there's no real rule to that, but let's, to be fair, it doesn't sound that bad. Let's just leave it. And by the way, there's no hard fast rule that says you cannot automate those controls. They can be automated. So yeah, I mean, it's only up to your imagination in terms of how you want to implement that wet filter. But I find that to be the most important part of this, apart from the drive. So these two filters, these two controls, or these two aspects are going to be where you're spending most of your time. That's where I'm going to be spending most of my time. So I don't know how you may work. Okay, now let's switch it over. So slow it down a little bit, go a little bit more progressive, and use it on a baseline warmer, warming saturation, more or less. Let's just make sure I'm already in analog mode. We have freed up all the analog tubes, but I think this time we're going to go with the T7 again because it's a baseline, and we're trying to keep it musical, but we can always experiment as well. You can always switch. You do have to turn these two off, and because this is actually off, I must have forgotten to turn off the analog one on the other one. Is that true? Yep. Anyway. Let's start with digital, actually. And when you're in the plug-in mode, you can use as many of these as you want, by the way, so that's kind of nice. But you've probably already noticed there is definitely a better quality coming from the hardware side. So when you switch over, you do your work there, you bounce it out to audio, and you come back. So let's see. So here it is, just kind of normal. The plugin is bypassed. And here we go. If I turn that off, let's just loop this. And just like before, we're going to bring in this, I mean, the wet filter was already engaged a little bit, but we're going to go scan this through a little bit and see if we can find a little bit better shape. But I'm already seeing that the bass line is definitely fatter and at the same peak level, which is the point of saturation also. You're buying yourself headroom by making a sound louder without increasing the peak value. I mean, you're not going to do a +18 mode on this type of thing. I mean, you might if you're making music for Doom or something, but here we go. So you start to see how important this control is. I mean, I'm just sweeping a bell curve over the whole thing. You have high pass, low pass, the band pass as well, and you can kind of swing that. So it becomes more of an effects process as well, as opposed to either just distortion or just, let's call it, okay, like a colorizer, basically. Yeah, really, really cool. I think the sound is excellent. You go 100% wet, and you get that band pass. And then together, sweep it. I really like the bell curve. This, for me, this gives it. Like I said, I'm a person that loves to hear things. I do not like subtlety. I think it's bullshit. I watch a million YouTube videos where the person's there literally gushing, orgasming over a sound, and I don't hear a difference. So yeah, I like non-subtle things. This gets as non-subtle as I need it to be. It's pretty awesome.